to Nicole, but then she realized no, Orthodoxy is Nicole. It's actually a fun thing to do. And like lots of death, lots of meeting. Baruch Hashem, they're married.
Very
And
nice.
now here they are.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, very nice. Okay, so anyone remember what we learned last week?
We were talking about Avodah Zarah.
Very good.
Actually, I was in Manhattan on Sunday and Chris was like, "He's going to the cemetery, but it's attached to the church." So I said, "Actually, we can't go in."
First of all, who wants to go?
He'd asked me the week before, I would have told him, I said, "Sure."
You see,
I think we discussed why he wants to take you to a cemetery. The only cemetery he should be taken to, which he already did, was the Ohel.
you see, it's very important. That's why we learned the halachas, so you know what to do.
That hurt.
So let's do a quick review.
Can I ask something about it?
Sure.
Sometimes I write a video, so when I write you, sometimes
It's okay. No, it's not the end of the world. Yeah.
Really?
Some are careful, but it's if you do it, you didn't do anything wrong.
Even if it looks like,
Yeah, it's better not to, but if you did it, you didn't do anything wrong. So are you allowed to do things which are superstitious?
I'm not superstitious. I'm superstitious.
Why not? Anyone remember?
Because we do things according to Hashem, not to objects.
Correct.
superstition in Hebrew?
Shlei lanachesh, la'oinu nu'achashiv. One is not allowed to do like this. Oh,
We were talking about this in my Shabbos meal, and we're like, it's not superstitious if it's accepted by Holy Israel.
correct.
Because we do a lot of things in auspicious hours.
That's different. Oh, we spoke about that in number 3.
Auspicious times, which
That-
is in Hebrew.
We learned about that. To do something in an auspicious time is not a problem. Why not? Because you're only doing it as a siman type. You're doing it regardless. Yeah, you hear? You're doing it regardless. Rather, you're choosing a certain time, a certain day as a siman type. That it should be a more auspicious day for Hashem's brachas. But you're not making a decision whether or not the cat crossed the street or not. Therefore, I'm going to go to work today or not. That's already a problem. Okay, so now we're holding Siman Kuf Samachay, chapter 165. Yeah, so last week we started the laws of Avodah Zarah. You know what? If somebody mentioned that it actually came in use, we'll review just a few halachas because.
I was thinking about it yesterday when I was crossing by a church. I was like, can't stop, gotta go straight, don't look.
Very
Walk.
good. Excellent. Very good. Very good. So, anything that was used for Avodah Zarah, as we learned last week, are you allowed to derive any benefit from it?
Absolutely not.
Very good. What is the exception? Exactly. If it belonged to a non-Jew and the non-Jew themselves nullified it, then one is allowed to derive benefit from it. What happens if it chas v'shalom belonged to somebody who is Jewish?
Nope.
Nullification does not work, and it's forbidden. One cannot derive any benefit.
No nullification.
That's right. There's no nullification. One cannot do anything for the purpose of Avodah Zarah. So this really comes for people who have businesses, contractors, so on and so forth. If they have to do some construction, and they were asked by a place which is designated for Avodah Zarah to, let's say to repair the windows, to build the windows, whatever it is, that is problematic. One may not sell books to them. Let's say they have funny versions of the Chumash. One is not allowed to sell it to them, or anything that they're going to use for their Avodah Zarah, one is not allowed to sell. As we also mentioned last week, one is not allowed to look at any Avodah Zarah. Like the pasuk says, "Al tifnu el ha'alilim." One should not turn to idols. So we learn one shouldn't look at them, and one has to distance themselves from their house of worship, and for sure from the idol itself, 4 ames, which is around 6 feet. One cannot come within contact at least 6 feet. And if any music is being played for their services, so to speak, or any incense, whatever is being burnt, one is not allowed to listen to the music, one is not allowed to smell the fragrance, rather hold your breath for a few seconds as you pass by, and that's it.
Rabbi, I have
Yes.
a question. Okay, so whenever I was in the car with my non-Jewish friends, whenever we go past the cemetery, they pick up their feet and hold their breath until like we crossed over it. Is there anything in Yiddishkeit about that?
How do they pick up their feet?
Like if
Were
you're
they
in the
floating?
car, if like you're in the car, not like if you're driving, but if you're in the car, they go
Until I
Why?
got over what?
until like they pass the cemetery.
What is that? What is that?
I have absolutely no idea.
You didn't ask them?
This was like when I was 8 years old.
Oh.
So just find them on Facebook and call them.
We actually have the same birthday, the person who did it.
So if they do it, you should not do it together with them. But
I didn't.
Baruch Hashem,
I just kind of watched and read, breathed.
good. Yeah, whatever funny things they did, you don't have to partake.
Like, how do you block out the noise? Because like the little house they got going on President in Brooklyn is loud. I'm sitting in bed, like it's like 12 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. It's like ring, 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 ring. It's the clock tower is so loud.
So what you do is you think what you learned with Rabbi Majesk and Chassidus, and you're in a different world.
Like I'm trying to get to a different world, but then like that thing is so loud.
I only ever hear it.
I only ever hear the clock tower part. So then like with that, that's actually not a ceremonial thing. It's just like a timekeeping thing. So then is that not,
So that's a good question.
like
So
if it's like making the ding sound?
it's definitely not, definitely better. It's actually very interesting. Somebody once asked a certain. So somebody once asked the Rav, they had the ability to purchase a home which is in front of a non-Jewish house of worship. So he asked him, is this the right thing to do? So the answer is, halachically, there's really nothing wrong, but still you shouldn't do it. And he said, why not? Because there's a few stories that happened that families of people with a lot of Yerushalayim, top notch, yeah. They moved to a new certain city, and a child went off the proper path, and they couldn't figure it out. Everything, the child was raised exactly as other children, so on and so forth. And then when they really looked into it, or maybe they went to a certain tzaddik, they found out that when they moved, the child was hearing the bells of the other houses of worship, and this had some sort of effect on him. So again, it's not a halachic thing, it's more of a ruchnius, but try not to listen. Put your concentration to something else. He heard the bells from the house of worship. He was hearing the bells and it had an effect on him. So, yeah.
What I've heard is that these rules technically don't apply with the mosque since they're still monotheistic. Like you probably still shouldn't go to one.
Yeah.
But it's not the same issue,
Correct.
since it's still like one go.
Correct. One should still not go, but you're right. It's not a Vedazar. It's definitely not. They don't worship idols. What happens if you're walking on the street and you dropped your phone, and right in front of you is a non-Jewish house of worship, a place where they worship idols.
You like get it like behind you.
So what are the options? First of all, what would be the problem? What would be the problem to get it?
To look like you're bowing to the church.
Correct. So if you bow down to get it, right, that looks like you're bowing down, facing towards that place. So one of the options was said that you sit down, instead of bowing down, you sit down, Or what you do is you turn around and then you can bow down and get it, as long as you're not facing that place. Okay, so those are, oh, this is actually important.
All halachas important.
Very good. So you know what? Let's go to page 1096. This is meaning everything is important. This is true. You know what? Let's finish because there are quite a few. What I meant by important is very practical. Very, very practical. You may run into this. Okay, so page 1096, halacha yud beis. Halacha 12. So in English, it's 1097. Also, one is not allowed to mention the name of any idols. Whether you're mentioning it with a purpose, for example, to say to your friend, wait for me by this and this avodah zarah. Right? That is not allowed. Whether it's for no purpose at all, one is not allowed to. Like it says, in the name of the idols, you should not mention. One is not allowed to also to cause that somebody who's not Jewish should say the name of avodah zarah. Like the pasuk says, it should not be heard on your mouth. And we also learn out that it should not be heard because of you. So there's two things. One is not allowed to say mention the name of avodah zarah, anything. Whether you're saying it with a purpose or whether you're saying it without a purpose. What does it mean with a purpose? You can't tell your friend, for example, you cannot tell your friend, oh, wait for me by this and this idol. Right? That is not allowed. Right? Let's say it's a central location and there's a big avodah zarah over there. One is not allowed to say, wait for me by this and this. Yeah.
Are statues are idols of today?
So that's a very good question. So the emphasis is we're not allowed to make them. We're not allowed to have anything to do with them, but they're not necessarily avodah zarah because today when they're made, nobody makes them for the purpose of bowing down to them. I don't know. Maybe in North Korea they do still, but
Yeah, North Korea is not really a place like getting laws from though.
but I don't think most places. I'm sure there are countries which still do, but most of the times not. So if people actually bow down to it, that's a serious issue. Like it's an actual avodah zarah. If it's just a statue, you make a statue in the park. So again, a Jew is most definitely not allowed to build such a thing. He's not allowed to own such a thing. But
what about the lion like sculptures that people have as you walk into their house?
So that's made of noy. It's made for most of the time. It's made for decoration.
Yeah.
So again, a Jew should not have such a thing. But if somebody has it in their house, you are allowed to go there.
Well, because I see like some of the old houses here have them.
What kind of? Oh, so what do you mean?
I mean, like I see horse ones,
What,
lion
what
ones.
exactly is it?
There's a horse one a few doors down from here, and whenever I walk past it, I just like crack up. And I just like walk past that.
What is it?
It's just like a horse head as you walk
It's
up
like
to the
kind of
house.
a
Horse head.
simile.
Yeah.
So that's actually the next chapter. That's actually the next chapter. Okay, so we'll see. Maybe we'll go instead of to what I want to learn. Maybe we'll go to that chapter that discusses these laws. I guess it's more practical than I thought it was. Okay, we'll see. So again, to mention avodah zarah, one is not allowed. Whether you're doing it for a specific purpose, whether you're doing it just randomly, that's not allowed. Also, you should not cause somebody, even if they're not Jewish, you should not cause them to say the name of an avodah zarah. This is an interesting halacha. If somebody who's not Jewish has to make they have to swear, right? Let's say you got into a dispute, chas v'shalom, they owe you money, and the court ordered them to swear, right? That they didn't steal that, whatever it is. So it's brought down, there are those opinions that allow them to swear, not to swear as in not bad words. No, not bad words. It's a vow, but it's not just vowing. Vowing means I'm vowing to do so and so. To swear means I swear that I did not do this, right? That I did do this. It's a little bit different than a vow, but the same idea. Shem achagim shalom shem kishmeis b'nei adam ein chashash la'askiram v'hu shlo yikrayim k'mei hasharim la'askiram esam b'shen shivus. To say the name of their holidays, even if it's the name of their Avodah Zarah, if it's named after somebody, like, for example, December 25th, right? That name is after somebody. So the halacha is, there's no isser, there's no prohibition to say it, but you should not say it you shouldn't say it in a way that you're giving it chshivas, that you're giving it importance. But again, even so, many are careful to say Xmas, like they don't actually say the full thing. Gimel, kol etzanusa asira, chutz mitzanusa Avodah Zarah d'sharia. Any mockery is not allowed except for that of Avodah Zarah. So if somebody's doing leitzanus, they're making mockery, that's not allowed, but for Avodah Zarah, it is allowed. Yudalet, the 14th halacha. Let's skip that one. This is an important one. Page 1098. We're just going to see halacha 16. In Lashon HaKodesh, it's Tazayin. For whoever has it. Mutar lefarnas aniyeham ulevaker cheilehem uvelikber meisehem ulehaspidon ulenachin avelehem mishum darkei shalom. It is permitted to give tzedakah to somebody who's not Jewish, even if they're Avodah Zarah. You're allowed to visit their sick. You're allowed to to bury their dead, and to give a hesped, to eulogize them, and to comfort the mourners, because it's important to the ways of peace. Yeah.
If you're allowed to comfort the mourners, many of them will have like a week whatever inside the church.
Oh, so then they can't go. Oh.
So then you can't go on.
Correct. If there's any services that they're having in that actual building, one should not go. You go to their house after, and you explain to them, I'm a Jew, I'm not allowed to go there, but I'm still coming to comfort you, whatever it is. So this is a very common question. You have shluchim all over the place, and sometimes they get a question: are they allowed to go and bury? They get calls from non-Jews also that for some reason they want the rabbi to bury their loved one, whatever it is. So you have it clearly. The halacha is that we're kever meiseham, that we do bury their dead. There's no problem with that. However, of course, as was mentioned, you have to be careful. If it's an actual religious ceremony, you're not allowed to do anything religious. You're not allowed to go into the place, the house of idol worship, or within 4 amas, which is around 6 feet of any Avodah Zarah. If they're doing it in a neutral area, something which is not a place of Avodah Zarah, you have a neutral, a parv, so to speak. What are those places called? Funeral home that's not religious. They open to anyone. That's already a different story. But if somebody's doing it, that should be done. They should call their rabbi. Yeah.
So when you go to Jewish cemetery, you wash your hands after.
Correct. No, you don't have to. Correct.
It's such a good question.
Because it's like what?
Okay. Okay, so that we leave. Okay, so maybe we'll actually go to the next chapter instead of. That's a good idea. Simkuf Samach Ches, chapter 168. In the Hebrew, in the Lashon HaKodesh, it's 1098. In the English, 1099. They're connected, and again, these halachas, when you go home, when you go on shlichus, wherever you go, there's no question you're going to be bumping into scenarios which are not the most comfortable, whether it's friends or distant family members, whatever it is. So you have to know what's allowed, what's not allowed, so on and so forth. Yeah,
I introduced this topic with a story.
okay.
I don't remember this because I was really young, but my Rebbitzin said that one time, a bunch of Hebrew school kids were at her house and I was there. They pointed to the Rebbe and asked who the wizard on the wall was. And then apparently I was like, oh, this is the Rebbe. And I gave like a whole thing, but I thought of it because it says images.
Oh,
And it was an image of the Rebbe.
so this is a very good question. This is a very, very good question. We'll see the halachas. It's actually a big chiddush that today's day and age, we're very... Okay, we're going to see in just a second. Aleph, the first halacha. It says in the title, Leisasun iti lekei kesef v'gemer. It says that you shall not make with me idols of silver. That's what the Torah says. The Kibur and the Seinu Zichrenim Livracha, and our rabbis of blessed memory received by tradition from Moshe Rabbeinu. The Zehi Azhar Shalom L'Tzar Tzuris Shabamader HaElyon Shabamader HaTachten V'Hainu Leisasun Kedemus Shamoshai HaMashamshin L'Fanai. So the sages received the tradition from Moshe Rabbeinu that, what does it mean? That you should not make for yourself, together with you, idols. It means you should not draw any pictures of objects in the heavens or below the earth. That resemble, so to speak, Hashem's shamoshim, Hashem's attendants, so to speak. What does that mean? We'll see in a second. Therefore, one is not allowed to draw the four faces on the chariot. We'll see, we'll get to that. One cannot draw the different types of angels. Also, one is not allowed to draw the form of the Chama, which is the sun, Levana, which is the moon, the Kechavim, and the stars. Even if you're not making it, when you're drawing it, it's just on a piece of paper, it's not actually a sculpture which is sticking out. Nevertheless, it's not allowed to be drawn. Even if somebody who's not Jewish hired you to do so, somebody who's Jewish is not allowed to do it for them.
That's all kids do in preschool, is draw the sky with the stars.
Oh, so we'll see. Very good. Very good.
That's why, like, you do it, yeah.
So we'll see. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah. So there's a few.
So could you be an observant Jew and an artist?
Of course,
It would
John.
just be very difficult.
There's plenty of them. There's plenty of them for sure. On Kingston, as I was walking here, I just.
Okay, but that's a picture of the Rebbe, so like there's.
No, but
Oh,
this is
we'll
the
see,
art
we'll see.
gallery thing on the wall.
But we'll see in a second. We'll see. We'll see in a second. Avala, Shason, Babayas. But to keep it in your house, if it's not something which is sticking out, if it's, let's just say, on a piece of paper, mutar, actually, so again, so somebody himself is not allowed, themselves are not allowed to draw it, but you're allowed to own it, right? If somebody made it, you're allowed to own it, but you should not tell somebody who's not Jewish to do it for you, right? So you can't go and say, hi, how are you? Can you please draw me a picture of an angel, right? I'll even pay you for it. So that's not allowed. Why not? Because just like we know about by Shabbos, one is not things that we're not allowed to do on Shabbos. We're not allowed to tell somebody who's not Jewish to do for us. This applies by anything that we're not allowed to do. The Torah says that you're not allowed to do it through somebody who is not Jewish and does not have that prohibition necessarily. Base number 2. One is not allowed to draw sculpture, really, we're dealing with over here, to make a sculpture of a person. Even if you're just making a sculpture of the face of the person, nami also, it's also not allowed. Even to just keep it in your house, it's not allowed. So this is interesting. So to make a sculpture, that is not allowed. So you're not allowed to make a sculpture of a person. What does it mean? This halach includes that you're not allowed to make an entire face, an entire head, let's say. But to do half a head, half a face, so yeah, let's say you have a coin, right? This is a coin, and you have, whatever, you have half a face. Yeah, it's not a good picture. It looks like a chicken, but pretend it's a person. So that.
It's a good thing y'all are being rabbis, because the drawing isn't really a strong suit.
Okay, good. So that is allowed. The problem would be if this face was facing forward and would have an entire face, that is not allowed. Well, it's not so bad. Okay. And the header to actually keep it is if you destroy it a little bit. So if somebody has it, it's forbidden to keep it and she calculates until you what's it called? You damage it a little bit. Gimel. So again, this is very practical. Yeah.
That's why, like, there's people that even like the baby dolls for
Oh,
the kids,
very
they
good.
cut the ear or something.
Very, very good. Very, very good. Yeah. There's a big question. How are you allowed to keep dolls for your kids? But everyone has dolls for their kids, right? No?
Like babies, when you babies or something.
Right? Yeah. If you don't give a doll to your daughter, it's a big question. That's what they love to play with. Everyone has it. So the question is, 1 second, according to this halacha, it should be a problem, right?
Right.
So there's 2 heterim. The heter number 1 is, it's brought down that no, it's not, it has nothing to do with Avodah Zarah because it's something which is thrown around and on the floor, stepped on, pulled on, thrown, whatever the kids do. So it's tashmishal bizayin. It's something which is, it's not respected. So that there's no prohibition to keep such a thing because there's no chshivas to it. There's no another answer, another way, another thing to do is you cut off. There's such a minute that you cut off a little bit of it, the ear, whatever it is. So then it would be not a problem to keep it. Anything just to damage it a
They
little
like
bit.
should not be perfect.
So it should be a full surah, so it should be a full sculpture, so to speak. Then you're allowed to keep it. Gimel, number 3. This is interesting. Tabas, a ring. Sheyesh Allah Chaysam Shutsuras Adam, which has on it a seal. And the seal is the image of a person. Yeah? Today, how common is this? Not so common?
No.
No, okay. If it was something which was sticking out, again, it wasn't flat, it stuck out a little bit. Also, one is not allowed to keep it. So you are not allowed to own it, but if somebody has it, you're allowed to sign with it. Because when you use it to seal something, it becomes engraved as opposed to sticking out. Whatever, if it's not so common anyways, it's not. If on the ring, it was engraved, carved in, then one is allowed to keep it. Okay. Daled, number 4. Also, one is not allowed to look, to gaze at a statue of a person. Why? Sharei Nikra Pesel, because it's called an idol. So just like we mentioned last time that you're not allowed to look at the Zara, so too, one should not look at the face of a sculpture. You shouldn't look at the face of the person on it, because just like there's a prohibition of making sculptures because of Avodah Zarah, so it's included in the same halacha not to look at it. So just like you can't look at Avodah Zarah, you should not look at the sculpture, you shouldn't look at the face. But if it's on the coins, since it's a common thing, everyone has coins, they go to the store, whatever it is. So the halacha is you are allowed to look at it. And somebody who's pious is careful even about this, and it's said about many people, big tzaddikim. There's a famous story with the Balagala that they didn't know Tzuras HaMatbeya. They were so lofty and so not in the exactly. They didn't even know Tzuras HaMatbeya. They didn't even know the coins, which one's which.
It sounds good.
Sounds very good. It's a very high level.
Only if it's with the face.
For which one? Not to look at the, one should look at the face.
If it's pesel without face, okay?
Person without face,
It's human body but without face.
there's no face, so it depends. If it was made without a face, still shouldn't look at it. But if it became damaged and the face is not there anymore, then you could. But if that's how they made it for the whatever reason,
Actually, it's with the
When I was a
face.
kid, they made
But
lots of
it's
little
not-
sculptures without faces.
so better not to.
Did you have any? No, like my parents did you want, and she had a whole lot. And then they all have faces.
Yes, better not to look at it.
You know
Yeah.
the place in Florida where there is something for the Holocaust?
And they have a.
A lot of bodies. It's good or no? It's okay.
Not so good, but
No?
better. Yeah, maybe the person made is not Jewish. Probably.
Probably.
Maybe it could be it's a government thing, and the government put it up. So then
So you.
They're allowed to.
You're not allowed to go to look at it?
better not to look at it. Yeah, it's okay. Listen, it's okay. Hey,
So what can we do before?
a lot. There's a lot.
Only sit here inside it.
No, there's a lot. The main mission is to make a dira b'tachtenim. So you go everywhere, and you make from that a dira b'tachtenim. Hey, halacha hey, number 5. Also, last is bayis tavnis heichol kasher arkev gavei v'rachbei. The kids are okay. So this we're going to skip, but I'll just tell you outside. So one is not allowed to mimic, to make a fake base of English, so to speak. But Vav, number 6, Yesh Negin Lasses Meneda L'Shiva Nedes, the Hainu Shisha Be'igel Ve'echad Be'emtza, Avol Harba Peskim Eistrim Zeis, Yesh Lachbe B'Svek Isra Deiraisa. So a menorah, what we have for Hanukkah, is 8. Right? There's 8 candles and then a shamash for 9. Yeah?
Super question on your fake piece of dish. I'm assuming like a large scale.
Yeah.
We can make enough little diagrams.
Correct.
Like the one that's in Rabbi Kasimov's office.
Correct. And there are those that make 7 branched menorahs, so that's not allowed. What we do for Hanukkah, of course, is allowed because it does not resemble the menorah that was in the base of Mikdash. Zayin, number 7. This is not such a common halacha. We know that there's something called shemen hamishcha, the oil that was used for anointing, the anointment oil in English. We are not allowed to make it. So ha'esa shemen hamishcha b'maisav v'mishkel ha'amr b'Torah. Somebody makes it exactly the way it's described in the Torah. Chaim kares. It's a serious thing. One should not do so. B'shegeg, if they didn't know any better, chaim chatos. V'hu she'esa esa kedei lehima sheach, in order to anoint. V'esa k'teiris me'achados samanim shemteru l'fi ha'mishkel afilo li'asa ela chatzia oish l'shisa chaim kares asa li'istamid b'poter. And the incense which is brought by the Beis Hamikdash, one is not allowed to make. And if you did it just for learning purposes, so you're still not allowed to do it, but they are exempt from anything. So, okay, simple now. Don't make any sculptures, don't buy any sculptures, don't own any sculptures. It's not so difficult, right?
Actually, a question on the incense, because when I went to Israel,
Yeah.
in like 2016, we went to Shiloh and they have like a little toy shop, whatever, and they said they were selling the incense. I was very confused by that.
So if it's a real thing, that's a big problem.
Is it the way they're advertising, they would think that they tried to make?
So if they actually did, it says right here, it's a big problem. If they just made a mimic, whatever, just something that smells good, that's not according to the way the Torah says to make it, then there's no problem. But if they actually went and they opened the Chumash and they actually followed the instructions of what it says, that is problematic. That should be. Okay. Very good. Okay, so those three simanim, those three chapters were connected, one with the other. So this is the chapter that I want to start, 165. Okay, let's start, and then we'll continue next week. Page chapter 165 in the English, page 1085. Lashon HaKodesh, it's Simin Kuf Samach Hey 165 again. Yeah, page 1084. Din Chinuch Ktanim Uktzas Dinim Alamed. 1084. So this is important. Everything is important. Everything is very important. So this is a huge, maybe we'll just do an introduction. And the actual limit will start next week. We'll see how much time we have. Chinuch is something which is very, very important. Chinuch does not just mean education, but actually in the English, it's not a bad translation. They wrote the training of children. So it's not education, it's training. It's also not a bad way of describing it, but children are the most special and the best things that a person can have. And when Hashem gives parents a child or children, there's a mitzvah of chinuch, of raising them and training them, like it says over here.
Influencing.
No, it's stronger than influencing. It's much stronger. Influencing means they are who they are, and you are influencing them one way or another way. Training means you're defining who they are. It's much stronger. Chinuch is that you are making, so to speak, who your children are going to be. So we'll see something interesting, that really, if you look strict halacha, the mitzvah falls on the father. The reality is, most of the chinuch comes from the mother.
It's because like with the mother, it's like automatic.
The what?
It's not because but the mother, it's like automatically, and she does it from like a different.
That's right.
From love and.
Oh, yeah, this is true. So we'll see. They put together the Rebbe's letters on chinuch, and I think the section for the fathers is like this. The section for the mothers is 10 times thicker. So again, what did we just see? We didn't see it inside, but if you read the first line, Kol Av Chayv L'Chanech Es Banim Aktanim B'Chol HaMitzvahs, every father is obligated to train their children in fulfilling all of the mitzvahs. We see the mitzvah falls on the father, but the reality is a lot of these things are from the mother. And in Mitzvah Hashem, when the time comes and you build a family, it's something that it's brought in Hayem Yem. The Rebbe Rashab writes that just like it's a mitzvah asim in a Torah, a positive commandment straight from the Torah to put on tefillin every single day, so too, it's mamish that important to think about for an hour a day about the chinuch of your children. And it's not just a nice thing you go to classes to hear things about chinuch, but it's actually in halacha how one is supposed to be mechanech, how one is supposed to train the children and raise their children. And there's a lot of big foundations over here that when it comes to training children, raising children, educating them, it's all one thing. There's something important that it's according to their understanding. So wherever they're holding in their understanding, you have to educate them, you have to train them according to their level, so to speak. We'll start the first halacha, just l'shem starting, for the purpose of starting. And we'll continue Mitzvah Shem next week. So Aleph, number 1. Kol av chayav l'chanech ezbanav v'ktanim b'chol ha-mitzvahs. Every single father is chayav, is obligated. It's not a nice thing or not nice thing. There's a mitzvah, there's an obligation to train his young children in all of the mitzvahs. B'chol ha-mitzvahs, in all of the mitzvahs. Bein b'mitzvah deiraisa, whether it's a mitzvah which is straight from the Torah, bein b'mitzvah derabanan, or a mitzvah which is from rabbinic decree, called mitzvah lefi das hakatan v'ktana. Every single mitzvah has to be taught lefi das, according to the das, the intelligence of the child, whether it be a boy or a girl. And also to hold them back, to separate them from anything which is forbidden. Just like the pasuk says, they should train a child according to their derech, according to their, wherever they're holding, that's how you should educate them, that's how you should train them. Okay, in Mitzvah Hashem, we will continue.
Girl, first of all, it's a rhetorical question.
Okay, this is a feedback form from the speaker yesterday, Mrs. Feldman. Take a moment to fill it out.
I think that's the most enjoyable thing.